All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Warheads broadcast. I am Roscoe Brown. This is my partner over here.
Apocalypto Joe.
And before we continue, I like to first say that we like for you to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, of course, so that you make sure that you get notified for any time that one of our shows happens to pop up. That would be nice. We would like that. So now, as I continue, I like to discuss a particular article that me and Apocalypto happened to come across concerning a former police officer from Buffalo, New York, whose name is Cariol Horne, who's been fighting in the courts, or who had been fighting in the courts since somewhere around 2008, concerning the reinstatement of her police pension and her job, actually. Her job, as she was terminated in 2008 concerning the incident from, I should say, when she stopped the white police officer who was involved in the incident when they were stopped for a domestic issue, I should say. But they weren't called in on the issue. So point one, I should say, about that is that they weren't even supposed to be at the house, which Cariol brings up, but that's a whole nother thing. But they were there. The white cop restrains the guy, but he goes ahead and chokes the guy that's involved in the incident. Cariol removes the officer removes his arm. However, she does that to get the white officer to stop him from choking him. She gets fired. She loses her job. She loses her pension. Ergo, she has to go on this long fight through the courts to get her job back. But before I continue about this particular issue, I'd just like to get your thoughts on this, Joe.
So my thoughts on this, I decided to go in another direction. Because when I heard this story, when you brought it up to me, I did some research on it. And then I got to thinking to myself, why would they sit up here and fire a cop for restraining another cop from essentially an illegal move? Like the chokehold has been made illegal as far as police enforcement is concerned, and yet they still continue to do it. And so as I started to dig deeper, my rabbit hole, as I make the Alice in Wonderland reference, took me to the patty roller. Patty rollers were slave patrollers. But what I found to be more interesting than the patty rollers is finding out that at one point in time, police agencies all across the country, as Black Americans started to migrate to the north and to the west, police agencies started to recruit white men from the south who were used to dealing with people such as myself. That's where the patty roller comes in. But then I found some more information about an individual in the LAPD, William H. Parker. He was heading up the LAPD, and he's the one who set up here and put the LAPD on the warpath in Watts, California. It says that despite efforts to romanticize the Parker era, which ran from 1950 to 1966, almost anybody who lived in Los Angeles during that period remembers that it was like an encounter. It was like an encounter with the LAPD. The first time they ever saw the LAPD interact with Black men was the first time they ever saw them disrespected by another man, and that man was a white LAPD officer. And so to take it a little bit further, an article that actually came out just in the month of March. That was last month, March 8th, as a matter of fact. It's from ABC News. Right. And it says, white supremacists seek affiliation with law enforcement to further their goals, an internal report from the FBI. Now, I know a few years back, the FBI had an article like this, but it's been updated. It says, in some cases, they wanted to join the military or police so that they would be able to commit acts of violence towards members of minority groups. In others, they plan to join the military or police to learn how to wage war against members of those minority groups. But here's the part that really got me. It says the document obtained by ABC News was distributed to law enforcement agencies both in Texas and elsewhere in the country. It focuses on extremists inspired by the white supremacist publication Siege, which served as the motivation for the neo-Nazi group known as Adam Wolfen Division. Among others, the report is titled Siege-Inspired Actors very likely seek military and law enforcement affiliation, increasing risk of tradecraft proliferation and color of law offenses in the FBI report. And so what this tells me, when I think about this sister, even going back to 2008, having to fight all these years against the police department in Buffalo, New York, you said it was? Mm-hmm. These people are literally everywhere. You know, in a perfect world, she's right to keep her partner from harming this suspect who was already apprehended and handcuffed, might I add. There was no other harm that needed to be done to him other than putting him in the squad car or the paddy wagon, as they called him before, interestingly enough. And so these articles and the legacy of these police departments all throughout the country helps you to get some perspective on why this sister had to fight for so long to get what we just consider as typical justice, to fight for your pension and exoneration of your name. And I actually remember when this story took place initially, and I just thought back then, like, wow, that's messed up. You try to keep your partner from harming a suspect. They're called suspects for a reason. That's because they haven't been convicted of anything. They're just suspected of doing anything. You can suspect anybody of anything at any point in time. But to have to fight this long to get her pension and to get her just due, it shows that things are changing a little bit. But I'm pretty sure that there were some liberal groups behind this fight that probably had some skin in the game, maybe some grant money. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But to have to fight this long for something that was rightly yours lets you know how deeply entrenched the racism from the South has permeated through our law enforcement agencies to this day. And that's all I got to say. What you got, Roscoe?
Yeah, I just find that it's interesting that stemming from her fight through the courts and all that she actually was able to have a law written out, proposed, and even passed, a law called the Cariol Law that makes it mandatory for an officer who's there witnessing his partner committing one of these acts like this, where he's causing like either serious bodily harm or death, you know, that they could step into that situation and stop them without the threat of retaliation, without having to go through what this lady went through, but also adds their name to a registry, which I think is a good thing. I'm that part of it, I'm not exactly sure, but I hope that's a real thing, that these people's names are added to a registry, because you'll have these cops who commit these acts, like the cop that was involved in this situation with her. You would this guy just in 2018, he had another incident where he actually went, they sent this guy to federal prison. The same cop let's just go back to her situation in 2008. 2008, this lady gets fired from her job for saving the guy, like you said. The guy, on the other hand, not only does he keep his job, but this guy, he's like moving up in the ranks in his job, and nothing has happened to this guy concerning this particular case. But then he goes on to, in 2018, there's a whole nother case where he goes to jail, gets sent to prison for just unlawful conduct concerning these. He's probably just trying to fuck these kids up or whatever he was doing. But whatever happened, he got sent to jail for this. You know what I mean? I think it was only for like 4 months or whatever it is. But yeah, just going back to the Cariol Law and it making it mandatory for the cops to have to step in and have to do something now. It makes it interesting to see now what will happen when you have these guys. And like you said, these guys who are in these racist organizations and all that, they've been entrenched in these places for so long now. Now you're going to be standing right side by side with your brother as he's doing this stuff and be forced by a law to have to stop him. But that's the crazy thing, is that you can rewrite laws, you can change laws and all that, but you can't change a person's heart, the way they feel, the way they move. So and America has never failed to surprise me ever. So even with this law in place, you still have to wonder whether or not America or the justice system could still find ways to cover up for their actions when they're acting inappropriately still, you know, because they've been able to do it in the past, regardless of whatever law or mandate has been instituted, you know. So it's just crazy to me, but I'm just hoping that we'll see some type of change, like you said.
Yeah. Before I roll out, that's the badge of a paddy roller who used to throw slaves in the paddy wagon. And even after the police departments across the country got their vehicles where they would transport mass prisoners, they would call them paddy wagons. But before I go, there's a short movie. It's not even a movie. It's like a short film. It's on Netflix called Two Distant Strangers. It's starring the rapper Joey Badass. He's an MC. He plays on the show Grownish. It's a very telling short story. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but it's dealing with this very issue of police brutality, police murder, as we see this is going on in the news today. But check that film out and check out the very last segment of that film. And it's going to give you a lot of perspective on how a lot of these people feel who have infiltrated law enforcement. At any rate, that's all I got, brother.
Yeah. I just want to say that everybody out there, black men and women in general, just you probably want to investigate more and look more into this Cariol Law, just for the sake of because I didn't get into all of the specifics, excuse me. But yeah, just take a look at that law. I just think that it's interesting to know, not just this one in particular, but I think it's paramount now more than ever to be well versed in some of the laws, just because, and still, even with that's not a thing that's going to save you from these people, because like I said before, man, when they want to cover up, they'll find ways, so I'm just hoping that something comes from this. I'm glad that Cariol Horne, that she found some semblance of justice. Sad thing for us is that we never get the immediate justice that everybody else seems to get. We are always the ones that, if we even get justice at all, have to wait almost 2 decades for it. So just something that's sad still, and bittersweet, I guess, when it's all said and done. But it is what it is, and I'm glad that she got something. So you got anything, Joe?
Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification for us, baby. Come join us on our Warheads Facebook page. Join us on Warheads 007 on Instagram. Come have fun with us. Let's start a discussion. Warheads out.